Hello, UT Tyler admissions team. My name is Tara Hamilton, and I'm an applicant for the PMHNP Postmaster's Program. I wanted to take a little bit of time to tell you more about myself by diving deeper into my background and my drive to pursue my community through psychiatric and mental health nurse practitioning. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, alongside a large dysfunctional family that I love dearly. I had hundreds of cousins because being an only child, I needed someone to keep me on my toes. And I was also the first in my family to attend college. And so I could not wait to book it out of Houston. And it landed me in Austin, Texas, in order to attend the University of Texas. Hook 'em horns. But I knew not a soul. And I'm so thankful that I ended up in the Longhorn Band. Because it shrunk the university down to give me a much more manageable and personal experience that I craved. And Longhorn Band is also where I met my husband of 15 years. His name's Mike, and we have 4 amazing children. Let me see if I can get their ages right. I have a daughter who's 10, a son who's 7, another son who's 6, and then I have a 3-year-old daughter that we affectionately call Queen Hazel, because being the last baby. And I have always had the dream of pursuing healthcare, and that dream landed me square in the middle of pursuing a psychology degree with an intent to head off to medical school. And now my desired specialty waxed and waned many times, but it mostly sat with the pediatric population. Then an internship in the neonatal intensive care unit grabbed my heart. I worked closely with a neonatal nurse practitioner and absolutely fell in love with this patient population and also with the role of the nurse practitioner. And so much to my mom's dismay, I changed my course 3 years into my degree and changed my major to nursing. I had finally found my niche, and I took my 5th bonus year and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. As soon as I got my degree in hand, I applied to every NICU in the Austin area and ultimately signed with St. David's Healthcare. And I was living my best life. My plan was materializing just how I had envisioned it. I was going to put in the 2 years on the floor as a nurse so that I could head off to snag my Master of Science in Nurse Practitioning with a specialty in neonatology. And I was able to do just that online with the University of Texas Medical Branch. And it was no easy feat because I continued to work full-time in the NICU as a nurse and had many leadership roles even thrown in there. And these roles range from charge nursing all the way to a team lead role, which basically meant that I assisted all staff, attended high-risk deliveries, took on an advanced skill set like intubation and central line placement. And it was hard, but it was so worth it. I had my dream job finally, a nurse practitioner in an 80-bed level 3 neonatal intensive care. And I literally thrived on adrenaline and autonomy. The adrenaline carried me through many 24-hour shifts, and my autonomy had me running several level 2 hospitals in the Austin area. And I loved it because I got to use my critical thinking skills. I got to solve complex medical diagnoses, and I got to provide life-saving measures. I mean, that was it for me. But several years in, my heart in it all just really started to change. I think there's so many factors in this, but one of the biggest influencers was the fact that I finally had my very own baby. I had my first baby. And it actually turned my empathy and compassion for these suffering families on tilt in the NICU. And so I started to actively seek out opportunities to enter into others' grief, sadness, disbelief, and anger. And actually diving into family interactions and dynamics quickly became one of my favorite roles. And I never hesitated to walk into hard, emotional situations and offer my support, both professionally and personally. I myself also endured a significant case of postpartum anxiety with my 4th baby. And so thankfully I recognized the symptoms quickly and I sought the help I needed without hesitation. Therapy and medication had a significant impact on my life during this tough season, and I cannot fathom where I would be without these 2 entities. Yeah, and my fourth baby also made me hit the pause button on my nursing career, as you will see. I had missed various milestones and moments with my first 3 children, and I was so determined to soak my last baby up. And I have actually used this past 3 years to be present with my family, refine my role as a mother and a wife, and I even had the space to plant a church and also start a small business of my own. And you know, something I always felt was missing for my clinical practice was the integration of holistic therapy with my Western medicine practice. I was not formally educated or trained in traditional medical practices in school, nor had I utilized any of these holistic modalities in my own personal life, and so I was essentially clueless. A personal matter with my then 10-month-old baby had me seeking out some holistic options, and I was instantly hooked into learning more. And this naturally led me to educating others with what I was learning, but also actively seeking to encourage the careful integration of Western and Eastern medicine. And one of my most favorite areas of study was how these holistic practices can impact the mind. I even walked through this with some of my own family members who have personally struggled with various mental health issues. This includes addiction, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder. And along with our medical team, we were able to actually integrate some of these holistic practices, and those actually came alongside nicely with our medical plan in some truly amazing ways. And so it was just encouraging to see. And I'm so appreciative to have various tools in my toolkit for treating the whole person, and will forever seek to educate myself in both fields, all the while seeking to successfully integrate them. And all these passions have led me to develop several goals that focus on learning more about this fascinating field, so that I can turn and use the tools that I gain for improvement of other people's lives. And as you'll read in the form I submitted, my short-term goals include actively practicing as a PMHNP in the Austin area to serve in diagnosing and treating and offering therapy to those struggling with mental illness. And I also believe that walking this path will serve in equipping me to execute my long-term goal of opening up a respite center that offers a multitude of services, including counseling, psychiatric and medical care, and rehabilitative therapies. And I want to open this to the entire family, because a center of this nature just doesn't exist in Austin. And as I feel that it will fill a great gap in the need for the people in and outside of this city. So thank you for this opportunity to further my education and practice so that I can continue to serve those with the greatest need. I hope to see you soon. Thank you.